During my son's wedding, the bride suddenly snapped at me. Get out of here and do not come back. You are not welcome here. I just smiled and said, All right, but I am not leaving alone. Her smug smile faded when she saw who was coming with me. She lost control. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are right now. I was drawing drainage patterns for the southeast corner when the doorbell rang. March afternoons in the city used to mean peace. Retired life finally offered me what 40 years of deadlines never gave me. Time to think. Time to plan gardens instead of buildings. The doorbell rang again. Insistent. Ryan was on my porch, smiling like he had won the lottery. A woman I had never seen was by his side, her hand resting on his arm with studied naturalness. Dad. We are engaged. My son's words rushed out before I could invite them in. I wanted you to meet her immediately. That immediately was the first thing that struck me as odd. No phone call, no gradual introduction, just this sudden appearance, as if showing off a car he had bought on impulse. Come in, I managed to say, stepping aside. This is unexpected. I know. Ryan was almost vibrating with nervous energy as they entered. But when you know, right? The woman extended her hand. Vanessa Morgan, I have heard so much about you, Mr. Boyd. Ryan says you designed half the notable buildings in the city. Her grip was firm, confident. Her manicure was expensive, French, fresh, notable. That is generous, I replied. Functional is more accurate. Please, call me Arthur, and you can call me by my first name. She smiled and immediately began cataloging my foyer. Her eyes swept over the original crown molding. They stopped at the walnut railing. They calculated dimensions with what looked like a professional appraisal. This craftsmanship is extraordinary. You do not see this quality anymore. Built in 1923, I said, watching her absorb the information like someone valuing inventory. We moved to the living room. I offered them coffee, and they accepted. While I prepared it in the kitchen, I could hear Vanessa asking Ryan about square footage, property lines, neighborhood development patterns. Her voice had that smooth, professional tone I recognized from years of meetings with contractors, people who measured value before appreciating beauty. Well, I said, returning with the tray. Tell me how you met. Ryan launched into the story with too much enthusiasm. A networking event. An industry connection. She was consulting for a luxury real estate firm. He was presenting on sustainable development. Their eyes met across the conference room. Very cinematic. Vanessa supplemented with precise details. She worked primarily with high-net-worth clients, property portfolios, investment strategies, wealth transitions. She said high net worth 3 times in 5 minutes. When I met Ryan, I was impressed by his passion for ethical development. So many people in our industry only chase profit. And your family? I asked. Where are they? She deflected the question elegantly. Originally from another city up north, but we were not close. I prefer looking forward instead of backward. Ryan has told me wonderful stories about you. Retired architect, widower, built this beautiful house. It is clear he inherited his talent from you. The compliment sounded rehearsed. I took a sip of my coffee and said nothing. Actually, Ryan said, pulling papers from his messenger bag, Vanessa suggested something that I think demonstrates true maturity. A prenup for transparency and mutual protection. He handed me the document as if it were proof of her virtue. I slowly put on my reading glasses, buying time to process this development. The contract was thick, 20 pages of legal language. This is thorough, I said. My lawyer drafted it, explained Vanessa. I believe in protecting both parties. Marriage is a partnership, but smart partnerships have clear terms. Do you not agree, Arthur? I flipped through the pages. Clause 7. All family assets acquired during the marriage are subject to equitable division. Family assets? Not marital assets? Family. Clause 12. Inheritance received during the marriage becomes marital property after 1 year. Has Ryan had an independent legal review? I asked. Dad, is it fair? Vanessa does not. I am sure, I interrupted gently. It is just standard practice, son. Any major contract deserves 2 perspectives. Ryan looked hurt. Vanessa touched his arm, redirecting his attention with subtle pressure. Would you like to see the rest of the house? She asked me. I am fascinated by the architecture of this era. We toured the rooms. She photographed the crown molding, supposedly for inspiration, but her angles captured more than decorative details. In the master bedroom, she paused by the window overlooking the garden. "Such a big house for one person?" she observed. "Have you considered what will happen to it eventually?" The question landed with calculated weight. "Eventually is a long way off," I replied. "Of course," she smiled. "I just meant that estate planning is crucial. Ryan mentioned you have not updated your will recently." "Ah, yes." My tone cooled. "That is a private matter between father and son." She backed off with professional grace. "Families should discuss these things openly. It prevents misunderstandings later." "I prefer to prevent misunderstandings now." Back downstairs, Ryan checked his watch. "We should go. We have a reservation at 6. At the door, Vanessa hugged me with calculated warmth. "I will take very good care of him," she whispered against my shoulder. "And I am so glad we are going to be family." The emphasis on family sounded possessive. After they left, I stood in the doorway holding the prenup. Small details piled up in my mind, like structural flaws during an inspection. The diamond bracelet she wore, 3 carats minimum, was worth more than 6 months of a consultant's salary. A designer bag. Knowledge of probate law that exceeded casual interest. Questions about my will before questions about my favorite foods or hobbies. I walked to my study. I spread the contract on my desk and began taking notes. I circled Clause 12. I underlined Clause 7. In the margin, I wrote one word: why. The weeks following their visit passed with suffocating normality. Ryan called regularly. Every conversation drifted toward wedding plans, venues, guest lists, color schemes. I responded with appropriate enthusiasm. I asked appropriate questions. I played the role of supportive father. The prenup remained in my study drawer. Twice, Ryan asked if I had reviewed it thoroughly. Twice, I evaded, saying I was still reading the details. The truth was I had read it 17 times. Every reading revealed new concerns buried in legal language, but concerns were not proof. They were just instincts, and instincts do not convince sons blinded by infatuation. Mid-April arrived with unusual warmth. My old colleague, Robert Chen, called to meet for lunch downtown. He wanted advice on retirement planning, transitioning from active practice to consulting work. I agreed. The restaurant he chose, Cascade Lounge, occupied a renovated warehouse in a trendy area. I arrived 15 minutes early, my habit from decades of client meetings. The hostess seated me at a table near the window. Good natural light. I checked the menu, wondering if Robert would be late as usual, when movement across the restaurant caught my attention. I looked up and froze completely. Vanessa was sitting at a corner table, partially hidden by a decorative column. A man in an expensive suit sat opposite her, early 42nds. Dark hair, confident posture. Their body language screamed intimacy. She leaned in close, her hand covering his on the table. His thumb stroked her wrist with familiarity. My first instinct was to stand up, march over there, demand an explanation. My hand was halfway to pushing back the chair when 40 years of architectural discipline overrode emotion. Confront her now with what? Lunch with someone? She would have an explanation ready. Business meeting. An old friend. Innocent coincidence. I needed more than a single observation. I needed a pattern. I signaled the waiter. Could I move to that table over there? I pointed to a spot where a potted plant would provide partial concealment, better lighting for my work papers. From my new position, I had a clear line of sight they could not detect. I took out my phone, pretended to check messages, and activated the camera. Through the foliage, I took photos of her. For 20 minutes, I watched with the attention to detail I once applied to reviewing blueprints, cataloging every gesture, her fingers tracing his forearm, his hand briefly touching her cheek, the way they shared a dessert with a single fork, laughing at some private joke. When the waiter brought the check, the man paid without hesitation. An expensive bottle of wine, multiple courses visible on the bill even from my distance. They were comfortable together, practiced. This was not a first date or a second meeting. This was an established relationship. When they prepared to leave, she kissed his cheek and lingered there, her lips close to his ear. He whispered something that made her laugh. Not the polite laugh she had used in my living room, but something genuine and carefree. They left separately, a professional precaution suggesting they understood the need to hide. I waited 5 full minutes. I paid my own bill quickly with cash and followed him to the parking area. The man got into a black Mercedes sedan. I photographed it, capturing the license plate clearly. Robert Chen arrived 20 minutes late with profuse apologies for the traffic. I barely registered our conversation during lunch. My mind analyzed implications, possibilities, strategies. After finishing, I drove straight to the office of Philip Torres, a journalist I had known for 20 years through Chamber of Commerce networks. "Philip, I need a favor," I said. "A discreet one." He looked up from his computer. Discreet usually means trouble, just information. From a license plate to a name, he studied my expression. "Legal trouble? Family trouble? I need to know who someone is before making decisions." Philip leaned back in his chair. "Remember when I needed an architect's assessment before buying that house on the hill? You found those foundation issues. Probably saved me $50,000. I remember. Consider us even." He took the license plate number I had written down. 30 minutes and 2 phone calls later, I had the information. Daniel Kraus, real estate agent at Premier Properties of the Northwest, specializes in luxury estates, over $2 million. I looked up Daniel online while still in Philip's office. I found his professional profile with a photograph. The same man from the restaurant. Match confirmed. Now I needed depth. I researched private investigators that night. I selected Mark Vega based on his specialty, financial fraud and infidelity cases. His office occupied a modest suite downtown. Vega himself was nondescript, 40-something, average build, forgettable face, perfect for surveillance work. I explained the situation concisely. My son's fiancée, a suspicious prenup, an intimate lunch with another man. I need her history investigated, particularly her romantic history and financial patterns. Vega quoted his rates without emotion. $150 an hour plus expenses. "Whatever it takes," I said. "I want a full report." He asked one question. "If I find what you fear I will find, what will you do?" I looked him straight in the eyes. "Protect my son." He nodded and took my retainer check. 2 weeks. I will be thorough. Those 2 weeks stretched like 2 months. I maintained a normal facade with Ryan. We resumed weekly dinners. Discussions about wedding planning continued. Vanessa joined twice, playing her role perfectly. Affectionate with Ryan, respectful to me, asking my opinion on ceremony details. Each time I smiled, offered suggestions. I watched her with new understanding. She was good, really good. If I had not seen her with Daniel, I might have believed the performance. But I had seen her, and now I was waiting for the proof. Vega called on May 2nd. "The report is ready. You will want privacy when you read it." We met at his office. The folder he handed me was thick, at least 60 pages. "It took some digging," Vega said, "but the pattern is clear. She has done this before. Twice." I opened the folder and began to read. 2019 marriage certificate. Vanessa Morgan with James White, local businessman. 2021 divorce filing. Settlement. $180,000 plus vehicle. 2022 marriage certificate. Vanessa Morgan with Richard Brennan. Businessman from another city. 2023 divorce filing. Settlement. $225,000 plus property transfer. Photographic surveillance from the last 2 weeks showed Vanessa meeting Daniel Kraus 6 times. Hotel receipts. Restaurant bills. They had been involved for at least 8 months, longer than she had been dating Ryan. Vega's handwritten note on the final page. "She is getting better at this." I closed the folder and sat in silence, absorbing the full picture. My son was not in love. He was a mark, a target, a transaction she had been planning since before they met. "Recommendation?" Vega asked. "Show him this today." "Not yet," I said slowly. "If I approach this wrong, she will convince him I am paranoid. I need a better moment, a complete strategy. Do not wait too long. The wedding is in, what, 4 months?" I stood up, folder in hand. "I will not let it happen. Trust me on that." I left Vega's office carrying a folder that weighed nothing and everything at once. Downtown traffic blurred past my windshield during the drive home. My mind did not process stoplights or lane changes. It operated on autopilot while conscious thought revolved around a single question. How to stop this without destroying my relationship with Ryan in the process? At home, I spread Vega's report on the dining table. marriage certificates, divorce decrees, financial settlements, surveillance photography, each document. One more nail in Vanessa's coffin. But driving those nails required precision. Approach Ryan too soon? She would convince him I was jealous, controlling, unable to let him go to his independent life. Wait too long. Legal protections would kick in. Timing was everything. I needed expert guidance, not an investigator's facts, but a lawyer's strategy. The next morning, I researched family law attorneys online, selecting Patricia Reynolds after reading about her 23 years of specialization in prenup disputes and fraud cases. Her office occupied a renovated Victorian house in an upscale neighborhood. I called at 9 o'clock. I explained briefly that I needed a consultation regarding a fraudulent prenup. She had an opening at 11. Reynolds herself was a sharp-featured woman in her late 52s, with a direct manner that suggested zero tolerance for wasted time. I presented the situation concisely. I showed her Vega's report. She studied the documents with professional intensity, occasionally taking notes in precise handwriting. After 20 minutes, she looked up. State law on prenups allows for annulling contracts obtained through fraud, duress, or lack of disclosure. Your challenge is proving fraudulent intent existed before the contract was signed. She explained the burden of proof, the pattern of behavior, the financial motivation, the concealment of material facts. Previous marriages help establish a pattern. Her relationship with this Daniel guy demonstrates ongoing deceit, but you will need testimony from the previous husbands. Victims willing to state she employed identical tactics. Reynolds quoted her retainer fees, $5,000 for comprehensive case preparation. I wrote the check immediately. Document everything from this point forward, she advised. Record conversations if state one-party consent law allows it. It allows it if you are a participant. Get your son's permission to record family discussions about wedding planning. Do not tell him why yet. I left with a legal roadmap. That afternoon, I went back to Vega's office. I need you to find her ex-husbands. Both of them. I need to know if they will talk, if they will testify if necessary. Vega pulled notes from his report. Kevin Moore, first husband, lives in another city. Tech consultant. Divorced her 3 years ago. Second husband, James Price. Moved to the coast city after his divorce 2 years ago. He is harder to locate. Changed jobs. Possibly changed his name to escape the association with the divorce. Authorize additional research expenses without hesitation. Whatever it costs, those men are key to establishing the pattern. My lawyer says their testimony could void the prenup entirely. Vega accepted the task with a warning. Some divorce victims do not want to relive the trauma. They might refuse to get involved. Then I will convince them. They deserve to know she is doing it again. That night, Ryan called for a weekend lunch with Vanessa. She wanted to connect more with Dad before the wedding. I seized the opportunity. Son, I have been thinking. This is an important time in your life. Would you mind if I record some of our conversations? It is a family history project to capture stories, advice, memories, something you and Vanessa can review in years to come. Ryan, touched by the sentimental idea, accepted enthusiastically. That is thoughtful, Dad. Vanessa will love that. I bought a professional recording device the next day, a discreet model used by journalists. Voice-activated, 8-hour capacity. I tested it thoroughly. Audio quality was excellent. State law allowed recording conversations where one party consented. I was not violating any law, just building a foundation of evidence. I created an encrypted folder on my computer labeled Family Archive 2025. I started a meticulous documentation system. Date, time, participants, key statements, potential legal relevance. Saturday arrived. I activated the recording device in my shirt pocket before Ryan and Vanessa arrived for lunch. She entered with rehearsed warmth, kissed me on the cheek, brought expensive bakery pastries, praised recent work in the garden. While we drank coffee, the conversation flowed naturally toward estate planning. Vanessa started gently. Arthur, Ryan mentioned you have not updated your will since your mother passed away. That was 8 years ago. Inheritance laws change. Tax implications vary. Have you considered reviewing it? I played my part perfectly, slightly confused, grateful for her concern. I suppose I should. I have never been good with legal paperwork. Do you understand these matters? She leaned forward, eager. I work with lawyers regularly through real estate transactions. I would be happy to recommend someone. Or we could discuss it as a family. Understanding everyone's situation helps with long-term planning. Family planning? I repeated carefully. Do you mean after you and Ryan get married? Exactly. Combined household finances, shared resources, coordinated investments. Modern families operate as economic units. Ryan chimed in, oblivious. It makes sense, Dad. Vanessa has a business degree. She is better at financial strategy than either of us. I nodded slowly, with clear elderly confusion. So you are suggesting what exactly? Vanessa's smile sharpened microscopically. Just transparency. Understanding what assets exist. How are they structured? What succession plans are there? Prevent family conflicts later. I noticed how quickly later entered her vocabulary. She was already planning my death. I will think about it, I said kindly. After they left, I immediately uploaded the recording. I flagged key moments. Her language gave it away. Combined household, shared resources, succession plans. She was not planning a marriage. She was planning an acquisition. Over the next 2 weeks, Vanessa increased contact frequency. She called me directly, ostensibly asking for opinions on wedding details, venue selection, catering options, guest list. But conversations always drifted toward my property. This house is so big. Have you considered downsizing? Ryan and I could buy it from you at a fair price. You could move to a more manageable place. Again, life insurance policies. Do you have adequate coverage? Ryan should be the beneficiary, obviously. But have you structured it correctly? Every probe became more brazen. I recorded it all. I maintained my naive persona. You are so thoughtful to help me with these things. I never know what I am doing. Internally, I catalogued her tactics with clinical precision. She was accelerating the timeline, trying to secure legal hooks before the wedding. Why the rush? Vega's surveillance showed Daniel Kraus pressuring her, their relationship strained by her prolonged investment in Ryan. She was managing 2 men simultaneously, and the pressure was mounting. She was making mistakes, getting sloppy. Perfect. By the end of that second week, I transformed the guest bedroom into a command center. I bought a large corkboard, colored pins, index cards, string. At its center, Vanessa's photograph from the engagement announcement. Left side, timeline of her relationship with Ryan. Right side, previous marriages with Kevin Moore and James Price. Top, financial motivations, property goals. Bottom, legal strategy options. Colored strings connected related elements. This visual architecture helped me see the whole pattern simultaneously. Identify gaps in evidence. Plan next moves. I photographed the board daily, tracking the case evolution. One night, reviewing the latest recording of Vanessa probing about my investment portfolio, I sat in that command center and allowed myself to feel the cold fury I had been suppressing. She actually said, "He is 62, as if calculating years until inheritance. Most people avoided discussing a parent's mortality. She brought it up and Ryan just nodded, thinking she was being practical. He could not hear what I heard. The appraisal, the calculation, the timeline. She was not planning a wedding. She was planning an acquisition schedule, not while I breathed. 3 more weeks of careful acting, 3 more weeks of recorded conversations where Vanessa probed estate planning, suggested property consolidations, calculated my mortality like an actuarial table. Each recording added to the growing file. Each interaction strengthened the legal case Patricia Reynolds was helping me build. Then, Vega called. I found Kevin Moore. He lives in another city, works as a tech consultant. Divorced Vanessa 3 years ago. I mentioned the investigation into her current engagement. He went very quiet. Then he asked if the new victim had children. Vega paused. When I said an adult son, Moore said, "Tell the father I will talk to him, not to an investigator, directly to the father." So I was driving to that northern city on a Thursday morning in June. The highway stretched north through a familiar landscape. Exits I had taken during business trips decades ago. Beside me on the passenger seat, the folder containing Vega's report, photographs of Vanessa with Daniel, the documented timeline of her manipulation, proof to share, credibility to establish. The cafe Kevin chose was in a quiet neighborhood spot with good coffee and corner booths. I arrived 30 minutes early. I selected a table with clear sightlines to the entrance. Positioned myself to observe. Kevin Moore entered at the appointed time. Average height, dressed professionally in business casual, carrying visible caution in his body language. I recognized him from the photograph Vega had provided. I stood up, extended my hand. "Mr. Moore, I am Arthur Boyd. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me." He shook my hand, assessing me carefully before sitting. "Your investigator said she is engaged to your son. How old is he?" 37. Kevin winced visibly. The perfect age. Old enough to have assets. Young enough to rebuild a career. I was 39 when I met her. I ordered coffee for both of us. I did not rush into interrogation. Instead, I asked, "How are you now? 3 years later?" Kevin appreciated the question. "Better. Rebuilt my consulting practice. Though I lost a key client in the divorce settlement, she positioned herself on paper as a business partner. Despite never working a day in her life, financial recovery took me 2 years. Emotional recovery is ongoing." His honesty broke the ice. I replied, "I am trying to prevent my son from experiencing what you experienced. That is why I am here. Not just for legal ammunition, though I need it, but to understand what I am really fighting." Kevin nodded slowly. "You are fighting a professional. She is not a casual grifter. She studied this, refined it, made it a career." Over the next hour, Kevin described the entire arc of the relationship. He met Vanessa at a networking event where she positioned herself strategically near successful attendees. She did research. She knew my company's name. Asked intelligent questions about cloud infrastructure. Seemed genuinely interested in my work, not just my income. Or so I thought. The courtship was intense. She adapted to his interests perfectly. Introduced him to expensive restaurants. After 4 months, she suggested engagement. She said, "When you know, you know." I was flattered. Previous relationships had been cautious, distant. Her certainty felt like validation. The prenup came with an explanation. She said she had been hurt before, that she needed legal clarity, that she wanted to protect us both. The contract seemed balanced. Equitable division of assets acquired during marriage. I did not understand the clause language. Family assets acquired during marriage. It actually meant anything either of us inherited or received from relatives became marital property. His father died 8 months into the marriage. Left him $150,000 in a vintage car collection. Under the prenup, that became a marital asset. The marriage lasted 18 months. She changed after the wedding. Distant, critical, increasingly demanding. Began an affair with a real estate investor. I found hotel receipts. When I confronted her, she filed for divorce immediately. Her lawyer was aggressive. Mine was outmatched. The settlement cost him $180,000, the car collection, and a 30% stake in his business. Kevin's voice remained level, but his hands shook slightly, holding the coffee cup. She knew the timing. Waited until the inheritance cleared and then pulled the trigger. It was all planned from the start. I shared my own folder. Vega's investigation. Recorded conversations with Vanessa. Timeline of manipulation. Kevin reviewed the materials with growing recognition. Same pattern. Exactly. Look at this line. Consolidation of family resources. She used those exact words with me. It is scripted. He examined the photograph of Vanessa with Daniel Kraus. Different man. Same dynamic. She always has a backup plan. Someone to lean on when the mark is depleted? I asked directly. Would you be willing to provide a written statement? Testify, if necessary, to void her prenup with my son? Kevin did not hesitate. Yes. I should have spoken up when the investigator contacted me after she married the second husband. Guilt has been eating at me. If I had warned him. You are warning me now, I interrupted gently. That is what matters. We drafted the statement together on his laptop. Detailed timeline. Specific manipulation tactics. Financial outcome, pattern recognition. Kevin signed it. Provided contact info. Call anytime. Whatever you need. She should not be allowed to keep doing this. As we concluded our meeting, Kevin offered one final insight. Your son will not believe you at first. I would not have believed anyone trying to warn me. She is that good at creating an alternate reality. She will have an explanation for everything. The other man is a business partner. Previous marriages ended amicably. Your suspicions are overprotective paranoia. I recognize that fear. It is already happening. He has been distant, canceling our weekly dinners, making excuses. She is orchestrating it. Kevin nodded grimly. Textbook strategy. Separate the target from the support system, especially from skeptics. Timing is crucial. He needs overwhelming proof presented at a moment when he cannot dismiss it, not a gradual reveal. A single devastating confrontation with irrefutable evidence. I absorbed this advice. I am building toward that. When I show him, it will be the full picture, not a fragment he can rationalize. Kevin stood up, shook my hand firmly. Save your son. Wish someone had saved me. I drove back to the city with Kevin's signed statement secured in the folder beside me. I felt a shift in momentum. The pattern now had human testimony. The abstract became concrete. But as I crossed back into the state, my phone vibrated with a text from Ryan. Dad, sorry to cancel Sunday dinner again. Wedding planning is crazy. Vanessa says we need to finalize the venue this weekend. Rain check? It was the third cancellation in 4 weeks. I recognized the strategy Kevin had warned about. Isolation by increments. Every excuse reasonable. Cumulative effect. Separate the target from protection. I replied simply, Of course, son. Let me know when you are free. But driving through afternoon traffic, I calculated 10 weeks remained until the wedding. Vanessa was accelerating her timeline, consolidating control over Ryan. My evidence gathering was thorough but took time. The question became, could I build a complete case before the wedding locked Ryan into a legal trap? A math problem. An architect's challenge. The answer had to be yes. Kevin Moore's signed statement joined the growing evidence file. I added it to the command center board, connecting his testimony to Vanessa's current manipulation tactics with red string. The pattern was undeniable now, a refined professional operation over multiple victims. But collecting proof and reaching my son were different challenges. The Sunday after the trip to the other city, Ryan called. Dad, can we reschedule dinner? Vanessa needs help choosing between venues. I accepted. The following Sunday, the meeting with the photographer ran long. Third Sunday. Sorry, Dad. Wedding planning is overwhelming. We will catch up soon. 3 consecutive cancellations. Our tradition, maintained even during his college years abroad, now abandoned. Vanessa was executing exactly what Kevin had warned about. Isolation by increments. In mid-July, I understood. She had sensed something. My acting had slipped somehow, or her instincts detected danger. Either way, she was moving to neutralize me. Wednesday night, I was preparing dinner when the phone rang. Ryan's voice carried unfamiliar tension. Dad, we need to talk. Vanessa thinks. I have been thinking about our relationship. Alarm bells immediately. I kept my voice neutral. What about it? You have been distant lately. When we visit, you ask weird questions. Vanessa noticed you recording conversations. She thinks it is because you do not trust her. My mind raced. How did she know about the recordings? Did Ryan tell her about the family history project? Son, those recordings are to preserve family memories. Just like I explained, that is what you said. But why do you need to record everything? It feels like surveillance, like you are looking for problems that do not exist. The phrase, looking for problems that do not exist, was definitely Vanessa's language. Ryan continued, Vanessa thinks maybe you are having trouble letting me go. She says parents sometimes sabotage their children's relationships because they fear abandonment. Textbook manipulation, reframing protective concern as selfish control. I replied carefully. I support your happiness, Ryan. I always have. Then why does Vanessa feel unwelcomed? Why do you interrogate her about finances and estate planning? I do not interrogate. I participate in conversations she initiates. She says you twist things. Make innocent questions seem suspicious. The conversation spiraled. Ryan became defensive. I remained measured but felt my son slipping away. The call ended with Ryan saying, maybe we should take a break from dinners until after the wedding. Give everyone space to breathe. I accepted. What choice did I have? But I recognized this as Vanessa's victory. Complete isolation achieved. The next morning, I met Reynolds at her office. I explained the deteriorating relationship with Ryan, Vanessa's counterattack. She listened with professional sympathy. This is expected. She is protecting her investment. Your son is a cultivated asset. She will not let you interfere without a fight. Can I approach him now? Show him the evidence? Reynolds shook her head firmly. Partial disclosure is dangerous. You show him the investigation. She explains it. Your father hired a detective because he is paranoid. You present the previous marriages. She says, I was young, made mistakes, learned from them. You show him photographs of Daniel Kraus. She claims he is a business partner. Your father is twisting innocent meetings. Every piece of evidence you reveal prematurely becomes an inoculation. She builds antibodies against the truth, so I do nothing while she turns him against me. You continue building the case. We need overwhelming proof presented at a moment when she cannot manipulate it. The wedding day itself might be ideal. Public setting, high emotional stakes, her guard down from perceived victory. I considered this. Are you suggesting I let the wedding proceed to the brink of disaster? I am suggesting you strike when the target is most vulnerable. Vanessa expects opposition before the wedding. She is defending against that. She will not expect opposition at the wedding. Surprise is your advantage. That afternoon, Vega called. She met with Daniel again. Downtown hotel, room 847. Spent 3 hours there yesterday. I could not get inside, obviously, but I planted an audio device in the hallway near the door. Not admissible in court, but gives us intelligence. He sent the encrypted audio file. I downloaded it. I played the recording with headphones, hotel hallway sounds, elevator chimes, footsteps, muffled voices. Then a door opening, Vanessa's laughter, Daniel's deeper voice. The door closed, but the device captured their conversation through poor insulation. Quality was marginal, but words emerged clearly enough. 10 more weeks of this charade? 8. The wedding is August 16th. After that, the timeline accelerates. What about the father? He is a problem. Handled. I have isolated the son effectively. The old man can suspect whatever he wants. Ryan will not believe him now. Sound of ice and glass. Movement. You said that about Moore's brother. Almost derailed everything. This is different. Ryan is more malleable. He has no close family except his father, and I have poisoned that relationship. After the wedding, the prenup activates. Give it 18 months. 18 months playing the doting wife? I have done more time. Remember the contractor? 2 years of that boredom. This is easier. He actually believes I love him. Cruel laughter from both. I stopped playback. Sat in silence. Hearing her voice, not the warm tone she used with me, but cold calculation with Daniel, crystallized everything. This was not romance gone wrong. It was premeditated fraud. And Ryan was completely blind to it. The following Sunday, I violated my own strategic patience. I drove to Ryan's apartment unannounced, hoping to catch him alone. He opened the door with surprise, bordering on irritation. Dad, what are you doing here? I wanted to see you. We have barely spoken in weeks. He did not invite me in. We spoke in the doorway. Awkward and forced. I tried an indirect approach. Son, have you had an independent lawyer review the prenup? Why would I need that? Vanessa's lawyer drafted it fairly. It is standard practice to have separate legal counsel. Dad, stop. This is exactly what Vanessa warned about. You are trying to undermine our relationship. I am trying to protect. I do not need protection. I am 37. I am capable of making my own decisions. I saw Vanessa's purse on the entry table. Realized she was inside, listening, probably rehearsed this whole exchange. Ryan, please, just listen. No, you listen. If you cannot support this marriage, maybe you should not attend the wedding. Think about it. He closed the door. I stood in the empty hallway, feeling defeat. Driving home, I understood. Reynolds was right. Partial approach failed. I needed overwhelming confrontation, not gentle persuasion. But the cost was watching my son drift toward disaster while I prepared. Back home, I updated the case board with latest developments. Created a new section, counterattack timeline. Documented every cancellation, Ryan's changing language, Vanessa's increasing control. Added the hotel recording transcript, photographs Vega had captured. Evidence covered a whole wall now. Financial documents, surveillance photos, Kevin Moore's testimony, recorded conversations, timeline analysis. Any objective observer would see the clear pattern. But Ryan was not an objective observer. He was the target. The mark, the victim in progress. I stood before the board, an architect analyzing a complex structure. Foundations were solid. Legal framework through Reynolds, victim testimony through Kevin, surveillance evidence through Vega, documented manipulation through recordings. But timing remained the critical variable. Strike too soon, Structure collapsed. Wait too long. Ryan was legally trapped. The wedding date, August 16th, loomed as a deadline. 8 weeks away. I made my decision. Let Vanessa think she had won. Play the defeated father accepting the loss. Lower her guard completely. Then, at the wedding, when she was most vulnerable, most confident, most exposed, strike decisively, without warning, without mercy. Full revelation. Late July became early August. Weeks of silence from Ryan. No calls, no text messages. Complete radio silence. I maintained strategic retreat, resisting every urge to contact him. Let Vanessa believe she had won. Let her lower her guard. Meanwhile, work continued. Vega submitted final surveillance reports. Vanessa and Daniel met 4 times in 10 days as the wedding approached. Hotel rooms, expensive restaurants, extended afternoons at his waterfront condo. Every meeting documented, photographed, time-stamped. The pattern was clear. They were planning the post-wedding phase. Confident in their scheme, Patricia Reynolds organized the evidence into a legal presentation. Victim testimony, financial documentation, surveillance materials, recorded conversations, prenup analysis. This would convince any judge, she said. But your audience is your son, not a court. Organize materials for emotional impact, not just for legal strength. 2 weeks before the wedding, I was ready. Then the phone rang. It was Wednesday afternoon, August 6th. I was in the command center organizing evidence packets when Ryan's name appeared on my screen. First call in 3 weeks. Dad. His voice was unsure, almost ashamed. Hello, son. Silence stretched between us. Then, the wedding is Saturday. I know we have had distance lately, but you are still my father. I want you there. I was careful. Vanessa wants me there. He cut himself off. She thinks maybe it is not a good idea, but it is my wedding too. I am inviting you. I appreciate that. Of course I will attend. Really? I thought maybe you. I support your happiness, Ryan. I always have. More silence. Felt like he wanted to say more. Could not form the words. Finally, ceremony is at 3 p.m. at the country club. Reception follows. You do not have to stay long if it is uncomfortable. I will stay as long as appropriate, I said. But I need to tell you something important at the wedding. Will you give me a few minutes of your time? Before or after the ceremony? You choose. Important? Like what? Information you need to have. About your future, your marriage. His defensive tone returned. If this is more criticism of Vanessa, it is information. What you do with it is your choice. Just promise you will listen. Reluctantly. Fine. After the ceremony, brief conversation. Thank you. That is all I ask. The call ended. I sat motionless, processing. Ryan, reaching out despite Vanessa's objections, suggested manipulation was not absolute. Some part of him still valued our relationship, still wanted his father's presence. This complicated the emotional calculus. The revelation would devastate him. But the alternative was worse. The first week of August, I transformed months of accumulated materials into a strategic presentation. I created 3 identical evidence packets, one for Ryan, one for Reynolds as legal backup, one for my own reference, each packet organized chronologically. Section 1. Background. Kevin Moore's written testimony. Previous divorce financial records. Pattern analysis. Section 2. Current deception. Vega's surveillance photographs of Vanessa with Daniel spanning 3 months. Hotel logs. Timeline showing meetings throughout Ryan's courtship. Section 3. Manipulation. Evidence. Transcripts of recorded conversations highlighting financial probing, estate planning pressure, isolation tactics. Section 4. The smoking gun. Transcript of hotel hallway recording where Vanessa and Daniel discuss the timeline, financial calculations. Explicit acknowledgement of the scheme. Section 5. Legal analysis. Reynolds' assessment of the prenup. Fraud indicators. Grounds for annulment. Each section marked with color-coded tabs. Key passages highlighted. The presentation was a masterpiece of architectural organization. Logical flow. Systematic proof-building, culminating in undeniable conclusion. I sealed the packets in professional folders, labeled them simply, The Truth About Vanessa Morgan. I kept 2 copies in the safe, kept one accessible for wedding day, I also created a digital backup on an encrypted USB drive. If physical materials were compromised somehow, evidence survived. On August 8th, I met with Reynolds for what we both understood was the final session before confrontation. She reviewed evidence packets, declared them devastating, then addressed practical concerns. Revelation on wedding day is a high-risk strategy. Ryan will be emotionally vulnerable, potentially defensive. Vanessa will try to control narrative immediately. You need to present everything at once. Do not give him time to process through her filter. What is your recommendation? Pull him aside privately after ceremony, if possible. Find a moment where you can speak to him alone with evidence. She paused. What is your extraction plan? Extraction? After revelation, Ryan will need space away from Vanessa to process. She will try to isolate him immediately. Twist evidence. You need a place he can go. Your house. A hotel room. Anywhere she cannot follow. I had not considered this. My house. I will insist he comes home with me to discuss. Reynolds nodded. Good. Have a bag packed for him. Clothes. Toiletries. What he might need for a few days. Show him you are prepared to support him through the aftermath. On August 10th, Vega delivered his final investigation materials. Final photos show Vanessa and Daniel at a waterfront restaurant 3 days ago. Their conversation looked intense. Based on body language and duration, 2 hours. I would say they are finalizing post-wedding plans. She is stressed, he is reassuring her. Timeline is approaching. And she feels the pressure. Vega also provided financial intelligence. I pulled Daniel's recent transactions through a source I have. He has paid for all their hotel rooms, dinners, even bought her expensive jewelry she probably will not wear around Ryan. He is significantly invested in this relationship. I absorbed this additional dimension. So Daniel is also a victim in his own way? Willing victim. He knows what she is doing to your son. That recording proved it. Vega extended his hand. Good luck. This has been the most satisfying case in years, stopping a predator before she completes the cycle. August 12th. Afternoon, 4 days before the wedding, I was reviewing evidence packets when phone rang again. Ryan's voice. Ceremony is at 3 p.m. At the country club. I know I already told you, but wanted to make sure you are actually coming. I will be there, son. Okay. Thanks, Dad. After he hung up, I sat in silence. That night, I wrote a letter to Ryan. Sealed it in an envelope to be opened only if confrontation went catastrophically wrong. Explanation of investigation. Motivation. Location of evidence. Apology for method, but not for intention. Placed letter in my safety deposit box with instructions for my lawyer. A backup plan in case of worst outcomes. August 15th. Friday night. The night before confrontation. I prepared methodically, laid out my formal suit, made sure evidence folder was ready. Tested recording device. A small digital recorder that fit in my jacket pocket. Reviewed key talking points for presentation. Ate a light dinner. Needed a calm stomach tomorrow. Sat in command center for last time. Reviewing proof board. Months of work compressed into tomorrow's minutes. Photographed entire board with my phone. A visual record of investigation evolution. Then systematically dismantled it. Filed materials. Command center transformed back into guest room. Physical evidence removed, but psychological preparation complete. That night, sleep was elusive. Lay in darkness, my mind replaying scenarios. Best case. Ryan sees truth immediately. Leaves with me. Cuts contact with Vanessa. Worst case, Ryan believes her version. Chooses fiancé over father. Proceeds with wedding, most likely. Confusion. Denial. Gradual acceptance over hours or days. I was prepared for all scenarios, but hoped for quick recognition. As dawn approached, finally slept briefly, dreaming of construction sites and collapsing buildings, of foundations that held and those that failed. Woke at 6. Wedding day had arrived. The wedding morning arrived with gray skies, threatening rain that never came. I dressed methodically. Charcoal formal suit, white shirt, conservative tie. Evidence folder slid into my jacket's inner pocket. Its weight barely noticeable, but its presence constant. Tested digital recorder one last time. Battery full. Memory clean. Voice activated function engaged. Arrived at country club 90 minutes before ceremony. Wanted to observe setup. Understand venue layout. Identify private spaces where post-ceremony conversation with Ryan could happen. Club occupied rolling hillside overlooking valley. Manicured lawns. Classic architecture. Understated wealth. Parking lot already filling with expensive vehicles. Inside, controlled chaos of final preparations. Florists adjusting arrangements. Caterers organizing reception hall. Photographer testing lighting angles. Positioned myself strategically for ceremony. Back row. Aisle seat. Clear line of sight. Guests arrived in waves. Vanessa's side filled quickly with well-dressed strangers. Ryan's side remained sparse. Evidence of isolation she had engineered. Recognized few of his colleagues. No close friends. Bridal party assembled. Then processional music began. Vanessa appeared at head of aisle, objectively beautiful in elaborate white dress that likely cost $15,000. Walked toward Ryan with rehearsed grace. Her smile radiated confidence. Activated recording device with subtle tap in pocket. Vows were exchanged. I promised to love, honor, cherish. Every word from Vanessa was a documented lie. Rings were placed. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Guests applauded. Couple kissed. Saw my son seal a legal trap, knowing I had perhaps 30 minutes to free him. Reception began in adjacent ballroom. Cocktail hour proceeded, champagne flowing, hors d'oeuvres circulating. Maintained peripheral position, declined alcohol. Observed. Vanessa remained glued to Ryan's arm, directing conversations, intercepting anyone who approached him independently. Classic control behavior. Mentally tracked venue layout. Main ballroom. Side rooms for private conversations. Emergency exits. DJ booth with microphone prepped for toasts. Identified optimal private space. Small library off main hallway. Door that closes. Windows providing light. Furniture suitable for document review. Reception moved to seated dinner. Assigned seating placed me at table 8, far from head table where newlyweds sat elevated. Deliberate slight. No doubt Vanessa's arrangement. During dinner I watched her. She was glowing, victorious, completely confident, perfect. Then dessert concluded and DJ announced, "Now we will hear from bride's parents," followed by groom's father. Before toast began, Vanessa excused herself from head table. Detoured to my table, leaned close, voice low enough so only I could hear. "Arthur, I want to thank you. You raised a wonderful son. Your work is done." She paused. Measuring my reaction, I remained expressionless. This is my family now. Ryan and I discussed it. We need space to build our marriage without interference, which means you should probably leave soon. You have been here for ceremony. That is enough. Ryan asked me to stay for toasts, I said calmly. Ryan asks for many things when he gets sentimental. I am telling you what is actually best for him. And frankly, her mask slipped slightly. Contempt broke through. You are left over here. You do not fit our friends, our lifestyle, our future. Go home. Do not come back. She straightened up, smoothed her dress. I spoke quietly. Okay, Vanessa. She smiled, vindicated, but I am taking someone with me when I go. She paused. Process this. Taking someone? What does that mean? You will see shortly. Something in my tone finally registered. Her confidence wavered microscopically. What are you? Enjoy your reception, Vanessa. What is left of it? I stood up, walked toward DJ booth. She watched uncertainty blooming into concern, but could not follow without creating scene. Reached DJ booth as bride's parents concluded generic well wishes. DJ extended microphone. You are next, sir. Father of groom. Accepted microphone. Stepped out where entire reception could see me. 200 faces turned my direction. Ryan watched from head table, anxious, but expecting conventional toast. Vanessa's expression showed first real alarm. Thank you everyone for attending this celebration. I am Arthur Boyd, Ryan's father. Standard opening. Guests relax slightly. Traditionally, this is moment for toast. Celebration. Well wishes. Welcoming new family member? Pause. I'm not giving that toast. What I have to say is more important than tradition. Ryan. Looked directly at my son. I need to talk to you. Privately. Immediately. This cannot wait. Room energy shifted, sensing irregularity. Ryan half stood. Dad, what are you? Ryan, I need to speak with you. Privately. Right now. This is extraordinarily important. Silence, blanketed reception. Vanessa's face went colorless. This can wait. Let us continue reception. Address family matters later. No, I interrupted firmly. This cannot wait. Ryan, give me 10 minutes. Private conversation. What I show you will change everything. Reception froze in confused silence. Guests whispering, unsure if planned drama or real conflict. Ryan stood fully, torn between my urgency and Vanessa's restraining hand on his arm. She hissed something inaudible. He shook his head, pulled away from table. 10 minutes, Dad. Then you have to explain why you are interrupting my wedding. Walked toward me. Vanessa stood to follow. I held up hand. Just Ryan. This conversation is between father and son. He is my husband. Now, Vanessa protested. I have a right. You have no right to this conversation. Ryan, please. Library down that hall. Just us. Ryan nodded, uncertainty clear, but curiosity stronger. Walked toward exit. Behind us! Vanessa shouted. Ryan, do not let him manipulate you. Whatever he is about to say, her voice faded as we entered hallway. Guided my son to library. Opened door, ushered him inside. Ryan entered. I followed. Closed door firmly. Through wood came muffled sounds of agitated reception. We were alone now. Moment of truth had arrived. Library door clicked shut. Silence pressed against us. Thick, expectant, breakable. Ryan stood near bookshelf, arms crossed defensively, jaw tight, wedding suit still perfect, boutonniere still fresh, husband for less than 3 hours. All right, he said sharply. 10 minutes. You have destroyed my wedding reception for this. Show me whatever evidence justifies it. Pulled folder from jacket. Placed it on mahogany table centered in room, perhaps several inches thick. Months of investigation compressed into portable form. My hands were steady. Had spent too long preparing for this moment to shake now. Before I open this, understand something. Everything inside was obtained legally. Nothing fabricated. Nothing misinterpreted. Independent verification available for every claim. Why are you talking like a lawyer? Just show me. Opened folder to first section. This is Kevin Moore's testimony. Ryan frowned. Who? Vanessa's first husband. His expression flickered. Surprise. She told me she had never been married. Slid document across table. Read it. He picked up pages reluctantly. Began scanning. Kevin's statement was detailed. Courtship timeline. Engagement after 4 months. Prenup. Marriage duration. Financial manipulation. Divorce settlement costing him $180,000, plus business stake. Ryan read slowly, color starting to drain from his face. This could be fake. Anyone could write. Kevin signed it. It is a notarized affidavit. He is willing to testify under oath. Here is his contact info. Call him right now if you doubt. Pushed my phone across table. Ryan stared at document, not reaching for phone. There is a second husband, I continued quietly. James Price. Similar pattern. Similar outcome. Has she done this before, Ryan? Twice. You are third target? No. Word came out weak. She would have told me. Why would she tell you? That information destroys illusion she carefully built. Opened second section. Photographs spilled across table. Vanessa and Daniel Kraus in restaurants. Entering hotels. Walking through parks. Timestamps spanning March to August. Who is that? Ryan asked hollowly. Daniel Kraus. Real estate agent. They have been involved for at least 8 months. Longer than she has known you. Laid out images chronologically. Meeting early March. Hotel visit April. Afternoon May at his condo. Continuing until 2 weeks ago. Every time she said she had late work meeting, client viewing, she was with him. Ryan picked up photograph showing them kissing outside hotel entrance. His hand trembled. You hired private investigator to follow my fiancé? I hired investigator after seeing them together accidentally. Would you have believed me without proof? This does not mean maybe it ended before we got serious. It did not end. Look at dates. This one, I pointed to recent photo, was 3 days before your wedding. Opened third section. Financial documents. Look at divorce settlements. Timing pattern. Marry quickly. Stay 18 months to 2 years. File divorce once significant assets acquired. Your prenup. It is designed to maximize her financial access after 1 year. Stop. Ryan's voice cracked. This is. Could not finish. Pressed forward. Had to complete presentation while his defenses crumbled. During wedding planning, I recorded family conversations. You gave permission. Remember Family History Project? Ryan nodded blankly. I recorded because suspected manipulation. Opened laptop. Queued audio files. Listen. Pressed play. Vanessa's voice filled library, warm and concerned. Arthur, have you updated your will recently? Estate planning is so important. Recording continued through her probing questions about property value, inheritance structure, succession planning. Every clip showed calculated financial interest masked as helpful concern. Ryan listened with growing horror. One more piece, I said. Most important one. Cued final audio file. This was recorded in hotel hallway. Audio quality not perfect, but words clear enough. Pressed play. Vanessa's voice emerged, talking to Daniel. 8 more weeks of this charade. Her laughter, cruel and calculated. Daniel, what about father? He is a... Vanessa, handled. I have isolated son effectively. Old man can suspect whatever he wants. Ryan will not believe him now. Sound of movement. Ice clinking. Daniel, you said that about Moore's brother. Almost derailed everything. Vanessa, this is different. Ryan is more malleable. After wedding, prenup activates. Give it 18 months. Daniel, 18 months playing doting wife? Vanessa, I have done more time. This is easier. He actually believes I love him. Laughter from both. Stopped playback. Silence crushed library. Ryan sat frozen, face completely drained of color. Breathing had become shallow. For 30 seconds he did not move. Then, that is her voice. Not a question. Statement. Yes, she called our marriage a charade. Yes. Said I am malleable, that I believe she loves me. Voice broke on last words. I am sorry, son. He stood abruptly, walked to window, looked out at manicured gardens where hours ago he married woman whose voice still echoed. He actually believes I love him. The prenup, I said softly, is designed to maximize her financial access. If you stay married 12 months, she is entitled to 40% of assets acquired during marriage. Legal trap disguised as mutual protection. Ryan turned from window. Face had transformed. Shock giving way to something colder. She planned this from beginning. Researched me. Targeted me. Played loving fiancé. Manipulated me. Away from you. Married me. All for money. Yes. What do I do? His voice was empty. First decision is simplest. Do you continue this reception celebrating marriage built on lies? Or end it now? He looked at closed door. Beyond, 200 guests waited. Vanessa waited, music likely playing. End it, he said quietly. Then louder, end it now. Walked to door, yanked it open, strode down hall toward reception. I followed, carrying folder. Entered reception hall together. Music stopped. DJ noticed our entry. Conversations died as guests turned. Vanessa rose from head table, relief crossing face, until she saw Ryan's expression. He walked straight to her, stopping 3 feet away, entire room watching. Wedding is off, Ryan announced, voice reaching every corner. Everyone can go. Reception is over. Apologize for interruption, but this marriage was mistake. Please leave. Turned away, walked back toward exit. Vanessa found voice. Ryan, what did he tell you? What lies? Truth, said Ryan without turning. About Daniel. About your previous marriages. About your plans for our marriage. He is lying. He is manipulating you. Showed you fabricated evidence. Ryan stopped. Turned back. Heard your voice. On recording. Discussing timeline. Calling me malleable. Laughing about how I actually believe you love me. Her face drained further. That was taken out of context. What context makes 18 months of charade acceptable? She had no answer. Stop. Just stop, Vanessa. Looked at confused guests. Please leave. This is over. Vanessa turned to me, screaming. You destroyed my wedding. I will sue you for harassment, defamation, invasion of privacy. Everything obtained legally, I said calmly. One-party consent, recording laws, standard surveillance, voluntary testimony. Your lawyer will confirm admissible. You will regret this, both of you. I will take everything in court. You get nothing, Ryan said. Prenup is void due to fraud. My lawyer already drafted annulment papers. Walked toward exit. I followed. Behind us, chaos erupted. Guests standing. Confused conversations. Vanessa's voice rising in desperate protest. Pushed doors into evening air. Father and son, together. Drove away from country club in silence. Ryan sat in passenger seat. Still in wedding suit. Minus boutonniere he had ripped off and discarded. Hands shaking slightly. Shock settling into system like poison. At my house. Went straight to guest room. His childhood bedroom. Essentially unchanged. Stayed there 3 hours. Did not interrupt. Let him process alone. When he emerged, face swollen from crying, but voice steady. Tell me what is next legally. That night, called Patricia Reynolds. Arrived in less than an hour. Spread evidence on dining table. Explained legal strategy. Ryan listened like man receiving terminal diagnosis. Absorbing information about dissolution of life he thought he built. 5 days later, Vanessa's lawyer served papers, suing for breach of contract and emotional damages. $1 million. Reynolds smiled when read it. Perfect. She is entering legal terrain where we are strongest. Met in Reynolds' office week after wedding confrontation. Morning light streaming through windows. 3 of us around conference table, covered in legal documents and evidence files. Reynolds reviewed Vanessa's suit with professional detachment. She alleges you breached prenup by refusing to honor marriage, seeking enforcement of contract terms plus damages for emotional distress. Classic, aggressive legal stance aimed at intimidating settlement. Ryan looked exhausted. Can she win? No. Contract obtained through fraud. Your father documented extensively. But we will have to prove fraudulent intent in court. That means airing all evidence publicly. Kevin Moore's testimony. Surveillance materials. Recordings. Financial analysis. She paused, assessing Ryan carefully. This will be painful. Private humiliation becomes public record. Vanessa's lawyers will argue you were willing participant who changed mind after wedding. Paint you as vindictive. Let them, Ryan said, because we have her voice on recording, calling marriage charade, discussing 18-month timeline, laughing at my belief in her love. We have 2 previous victims with identical patterns. Reynolds organized papers into presentation folders. Hearing scheduled in 2 weeks. I will file counter motion to annul contract based on fraud. We will request court also refer matter to district attorney for criminal investigation. Week before hearing, Reynolds practiced testimony with Ryan. She played opposing counsel, attacking credibility with brutal efficiency. Mr. Boyd, is it not true you willingly pursued relationship with Miss Morgan? Proposed marriage, signed prenup after reviewing terms. Ryan, worn down by emotional turmoil, struggled to maintain composure. Yes, but I did not know. Did not know what? That relationships require trust? Or did you simply regret decision and invent elaborate fraud narrative to escape consequences? That is not. Did you hire private investigator to follow fiancé? Record private conversations? These are actions of paranoid, controlling individual, not victim. Ryan's fists clenched. Reynolds softened, returned to normal tone. That is what they will do. Twist facts, attack character. Need to stay calm. Stick to evidence. When they attack, respond simply. Believed I was in honest relationship. Evidence proved otherwise. Court hearing room was smaller than expected. Wood paneling. Raised judge's bench. Gallery seating for perhaps 30 people. Vanessa sat at plaintiff's table with 2 lawyers. Designer suit projecting confidence. Avoided eye contact with us. Judge Margaret Chen, late 50 seconds. Reviewed case files with evident skepticism toward Vanessa's claims. Reynolds presented our case first. Your Honor, this is not simple contract dispute. It is exposure of systematic fraud. Miss Morgan has pattern of targeting financially stable men, marrying quickly, positioning legally, then divorcing profitably. Mr. Boyd is 3rd known victim. We have testimony from previous husband. Kevin Moore took stand, sworn in, recounted experience. Vanessa's lawyer objected repeatedly, irrelevant to current case, but Judge Chen allowed testimony. Pattern evidence, relevant to claims of fraudulent intent. Kevin was eloquent, detailed, credible, described identical courtship tactics, prenup manipulation, financial devastation. Under cross-examination, Vanessa's lawyer tried to discredit. Is it not true you are bitter about divorce? Contacted Miss Morgan's subsequent partners? Seeking revenge? I contacted this young man's father, Kevin corrected firmly, to prevent him from suffering what I suffered. That is not revenge. That is decency. Gallery observers visibly took note. Reynolds then played hotel recording. Courtroom heard Vanessa's voice. 18 months of charade. He actually believes I love him. Laughter. Judge Chen's expression hardened. Vanessa whispered urgently to lawyers. Reynolds' financial expert, forensic accountant Thomas Brennan, testified regarding Vanessa's divorce settlements. 2 previous marriages, both ending in substantial financial transfers. Timing patterns suggesting calculated extraction. Based on documentation, Miss Morgan's income from consulting work averages $40,000 annually. However, lifestyle exceeds 3 times that revenue. Discrepancy explained by divorce settlements totaling over $400,000 combined. Vanessa's lawyers argued circumstantial evidence, character assassination, selective presentation, but momentum had shifted decisively. Judge Chen delivered ruling from bench. Having reviewed evidence, including recorded admissions, previous victim testimony, and financial analysis, court finds prenup obtained through fraudulent misrepresentation and concealment of material facts. Contract is void. Plaintiff's claims for breach and damages dismissed with prejudice. She paused, consulting notes. Furthermore, evidence suggests potential criminal fraud. Court refers matter to County District Attorney for investigation into possible charges under state fraud statutes. Miss Morgan should consult criminal defense attorney. Gavel banged. Vanessa's face went ashen. Her lawyers immediately requested private conference. Reynolds leaned toward us. That is complete victory. She has nothing now. Outside courthouse, August afternoon sun felt surreal after windowless courtroom. Reporters approached, but Reynolds deflected professionally. Ryan stood on steps, physically present but emotionally distant. Is it over? He asked quietly. Civil case is over, I confirmed. Criminal investigation starting. But for you, yes. You are free. He nodded slowly. Processing. Still cannot believe I did not see it. All signs were there. She is professional. That is point. Making marks, miss signs. Walked toward parking lot. Reynolds followed, carrying briefcase of legal documents. District Attorney's office will contact you both for statements. Likely prosecute. Evidence overwhelming. She will likely take plea deal rather than trial. Reached car. Phone vibrated. Text from Vega. Daniel Kraus just released public statement distancing himself from Vanessa. Claims he was misled about nature of her relationship with Ryan. Rats fleeing sinking ship. Showed Ryan text. Read it without expression. Then finally, something resembling satisfaction crossed face. Good, he said. Let everyone know what she is. Drove home together. Weeks passed. Ryan stayed in guest room, emerging gradually from shock. First week, mostly silence. Second week, small conversations. Third week, brought apology I had not asked for, but he needed to give. Dad, I owe you apology, Ryan said one evening, for doubting you, choosing her manipulation over your protection. You saw what I could not. I am sorry. You trusted someone you loved, I replied. That is human nature. She exploited it professionally. You listened when it mattered. At wedding, gave me those 10 minutes. That took courage. How do we fix relationships same way you fix any structure? Assess foundation. Repair cracks. Rebuild systematically. Resume Sunday dinners. Simple routine. Rebuilding connection gradually. Fourth Sunday, mentioned starting therapy. Counselor specializing in manipulation recovery. Helping me identify tactics I missed, he said. That awareness prevents repeat, I confirmed. Month later, Ryan brought up finances. Wedding cost $50,000. My savings gone. I will loan you $50,000. 3% interest. 5-year repayment. He looked surprised. Do not have to charge interest. This is loan, not gift. Loans preserve accountability. You will pay this back because you will own recovery. Signed agreement carefully. Thanks for treating me like adult who made expensive mistake. Early September, Reynolds called with updates. Prosecution accepted Vanessa's plea deal. 3 years probation. Restitution. Criminal record. Left town. License revoked. Reputation destroyed. Based on your case, Reynolds added, prosecution found 2 additional potential victims. Stopped serial predator. Late August evening, Ryan and I stood on deck, overlooking city. Sunset painting sky orange and purple. Been thinking about trust, Ryan said. Trusted her blindly. Now paranoid. Neither healthy. Trust is important, agreed. But verification is more important. Trust but verify. Look for consistency between words and actions. Vanessa's words were perfect. Actions revealed truth. Like blueprint inspection, he said, design might be beautiful, but you check calculations. Exactly. You are architect's son, after all. He smiled. First genuine smile in months. I am lucky. Some people do not have father who builds cases to save them. Some do. Just need to recognize protection when offered. Recognize it now. Stood in comfortable silence as sun went down. Relationship healed. Justice served. New beginning established. Architect's work complete. If you liked this story, please like this video. Subscribe to channel and share thoughts in comments. To hear next story, click box on left. Thanks for watching.